There is an old rule in biology. If you want to perfectly understand how a frog works, you have to catch it, pin it down to a table, and cut it open. You can look at its heart. You can map out its nervous system. You can finally understand the exact mechanics of what made the frog jump. Congratulations, you have achieved total understanding. But the frog is dead. We are doing this to our own lives. We have become a generation of amateur surgeons, holding scalpels to our own psyches, desperately trying to dissect every single thing we feel. Notice how we talk now. We do not just feel sad anymore. Sadness is too simple, too messy, too raw. Instead, we say we are experiencing a depressive episode triggered by an avoidant attachment style activating our sympathetic nervous system. We do not just have a bad day at work. We are navigating a toxic environment that violates our boundaries and dysregulates our nervous system. We do not fall out of love. We realize our partner lacks the emotional bandwidth to hold space for our inner child. We do not just miss someone. We are processing grief while honoring our attachment wounds. We have weaponized therapy speak to turn our lives into clinical case studies. Every emotion must be diagnosed. Every reaction must be traced back to a root cause. Every feeling must be understood before it is allowed to exist. We think that if we can just find the right label, the right psychological framework, the right vocabulary to describe our pain, the pain will stop. We think that analyzing the mechanics of the frog will somehow make it jump better. But it does not, because your obsessive need to understand what is happening to you is the exact thing preventing you from actually experiencing it. You cannot simultaneously live your life and stand outside of it taking notes. The moment you try to understand the moment is gone. A toad is sitting in the forest and watches a centipede walk by. The toad is amazed. He asks, "How do you do it? You have 100 legs. How do you manage to coordinate all of them so perfectly without tripping over yourself? Which leg moves first? Which one goes 57th? The centipede stops. He had never thought about this before. He looks down at his legs and tries to figure out the exact mechanics of his own walking. He tries to observe the process. He tries to understand it. And the moment he does, his legs tangle together. He trips. He falls over, completely paralyzed. He never walks again. In psychology, they call this Humphrey's law. Conscious attention to an automatic or natural process instantly ruins that process. Have you ever tried to fall asleep by trying to fall asleep? You lie there, calculating how many hours of rest you will get if you fall asleep right now. You focus on your breathing. You try to understand the mechanics of shutting down your brain. You monitor your own consciousness, waiting for the moment it switches off. And what happens? You give yourself insomnia. Sleep only comes when you surrender the desire to understand it, when you stop watching, when you let go. Have you ever been on a date and instead of just talking to the person, you are inside your head monitoring your own performance? Am I talking too much? Is my posture weird? Did that joke land? Was that pause too long? Should I touch their arm now? Is this the right moment to be vulnerable? You are trying to figure out the social dynamics in real time. You are running analytics on a conversation while having the conversation. And as a result, you act like a malfunctioning robot. Stiff, overthought, unnatural. The date fails not because you were not good enough, but because you were not there. You were too busy observing yourself to actually show up. Your brain has two distinct modes, the experiencing self and the narrating self. The experiencing self feels the sun on its face. The narrating self says, I am feeling the sun on my face. This is nice. This is probably good for my vitamin D levels. I should do this more often. I read somewhere that morning, sunlight helps regulate circadian rhythms and reduce cortisol. I wonder if I am doing this right. The experiencing self kisses someone and dissolves into the moment. The narrating self kisses someone and thinks, this is happening. We are kissing. Is this good? Am I doing it right? What does this mean for our relationship? Should I text them tomorrow or wait 2 days? The tragic joke of human consciousness is that these two modes cannot occupy the same space at the same time. The narrating self is a parasite. When it turns on, it feeds on the experiencing self. It consumes the moment by commenting on it. It kills the experience by trying to understand it. If you are constantly trying to narrate, analyze, and understand your life, you are not living it. You are watching a simulation of it from inside your skull. You are the paralyzed centipede. A Portuguese poet named Fernando Pessoa created different identities to write through. Not pseudonyms, entire people with their own biographies, their own philosophies, their own ways of existing in the world. One of them was Alberto Cairo. Pessoa called him the master. Cairo was an anti-intellectual, a man who refused to find hidden meanings in anything, a man who believed that seeing clearly meant not thinking at all. Cairo wrote, "To think is to be sick in the eyes." What did he mean? He meant that when you look at a river and start thinking about the molecular structure of water, or the economic impact on the local fishing industry, or what rivers symbolize in classical literature, or how this moment connects to your childhood memories of water, you are no longer seeing the river. You are blind. You are only looking at the inside of your own brain. We suffer from this sickness of the eyes. We have been conditioned to believe that the surface of reality is not enough. We think there must be a root cause, a hidden trauma, a deeper meaning behind every single interaction. A friend cancels plans, and we wonder, what does this mean about our friendship? Are they pulling away? Did I do something wrong? Is this a pattern? We have a good day, and we wonder, why do I feel good? Is this sustainable? Am I avoiding something? Is this the calm before a storm? We cannot let anything simply be. We consume endless podcasts, self-help books, video essays. Yes, the irony is not lost on me. Trying to build a perfect philosophical map of reality. We think that if we just acquire enough information, enough frameworks, enough understanding, we will finally be safe. But Cairo offers a brutal correction. Things have no meaning. They have existence. Things are the only hidden meaning of things. A flower does not mean anything. It just is. Your sadness over a breakup does not necessarily hold a profound lesson about your childhood attachment patterns. Sometimes it is just the biological reality of missing someone. Sometimes pain is just pain. It just is. By demanding that your suffering has a meaning you must decode, you are making the pain twice as heavy. You are adding the burden of homework to the burden of grief. You are not just sad. You are sad, and you have to figure out why you are sad, and what it means, and what caused it, and how to fix it, and what this reveals about your psychology. No wonder you are exhausted. Søren Kierkegaard said something I think about often. Life is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be experienced. Our obsession with understanding everything is, fundamentally, an act of arrogance, a control mechanism dressed up as self-awareness. Why do we overanalyze? because vulnerability is terrifying. If someone leaves you without giving you a reason, it destroys you. Your brain scrambles to find the why. You analyze their text messages looking for clues. You replay every conversation, searching for the moment it went wrong. You analyze your own flaws, wondering which one was the deal breaker. You want a timeline. You want a diagnosis. You want closure. Why? Because your ego believes that if you can understand why the bad thing happened, you can control it. You can prevent it from happening again. If you can turn your heartbreak into a data point, into a lesson, into a story with a moral, it will not hurt as much. But it still hurts. The math does not stop the bleeding. You can understand exactly why someone left you and still cry yourself to sleep. You can have perfect insight into your attachment patterns and still feel abandoned. You can know the name of your wound and still bleed from it. Understanding is not healing. Sometimes it is just a more sophisticated way of not feeling. We demand that the universe makes sense. We demand that people act rationally. We demand that hard work leads to logical reward. We demand that good things happen to good people and bad things happen to bad people. But the universe does not owe you an explanation. It barely owes you gravity. Life is fundamentally irrational, messy, and absurd. People will betray you for no logical reason. You will fail even when you do everything right. You will feel anxious on days when the sun is shining and everything is fine. You will lose people who loved you. You will succeed at things that do not matter. You will get what you want and realize you wanted the wrong thing. None of it will make sense. And when you demand that an irrational world behave rationally, you set yourself up for chronic suffering. The desire for closure is a myth invented by Hollywood. In reality, most chapters of your life will end mid-sentence. You will not get an explanation. People will leave and you will never know the real reason. Opportunities will vanish without warning. Things will happen to you that you did not deserve, and no amount of analysis will make them fair. You have to learn to tolerate the ambiguity. You have to learn to sit in the dark without immediately reaching for a flashlight to inspect the shadows. You have to accept that some questions do not have answers, and asking them forever is just another way of avoiding the fact that you have to keep living anyway. I need to confess something. I am everything I have just described. I am the centipede who stopped to think about his legs. I am the surgeon with the scalpel. I am the narrator who cannot stop narrating. I analyze everything. Every interaction, every emotion, every moment. I turn my life into content. I search for patterns in my pain and frameworks for my feelings. I read about psychology so I can diagnose myself. I watch philosophy videos so I can understand existence. And I know that this is the problem. I know that while I am busy understanding life, life is passing me by. I know that my narration is killing my experience. I know that I am dissecting frogs when I should be watching them jump. But I cannot stop, because this is how I cope. This is how I feel safe. If I am analyzing, I am in control. If I am understanding, I am not vulnerable. If I am observing from a distance, nothing can hurt me as much, except it still hurts. And I miss things. I miss moments. I am so busy thinking about what is happening that I forget to be in what is happening. So if you recognize yourself in any of this, know that I am not preaching from somewhere above. I am in it. I am the centipede lying on the ground, legs tangled, trying to think my way back to walking. So what is the cure? How do you stop being the paralyzed centipede? Here is the hard truth. You cannot do it by thinking about stopping. You cannot intellectualize your way out of an intellectual trap. You cannot use the scalpel to heal the frog. You cannot narrate your way into presence. The only way to break the paralysis is to drop the mind and return to the body. You have to allow yourself to be a little bit stupid. I mean that as the highest compliment. Stupidity, in this context, is the absence of narration. It is the dog running after the ball without wondering about the aerodynamic physics of the throw. It is the child playing without asking what play means. It is the moment before thought arrives to comment on the moment. When you feel an emotion, anger, joy, grief, desire, do not immediately rush to categorize it. Do not ask, why am I feeling this? Is this a trauma response? Is this my attachment style? Is this rational? Just let the chemical wave wash over you. Let your heart beat fast. Let your hands shake. Let yourself cry without needing to know exactly why you are crying. Experience the weather of your own body without trying to become the meteorologist. Stop trying to find the perfect narrative arc for your life. You are not a character in a novel. Your suffering does not need to mean something. Your joy does not need to be justified. You are a biological organism floating on a rock in a cold vacuum, and that is enough. That is more than enough. The next time you are sitting with friends, or drinking coffee alone, or walking down a street at dusk, and you feel that familiar urge to step outside the moment and analyze it, catch yourself. Realize that the urge to understand the moment is the exact thing killing it. You do not have to figure out why you feel at peace. You do not have to document the moment for later analysis. You do not have to turn this into a lesson or a memory or content. You can just be there. And being fully, stupidly, presently there is the rarest thing in the world now, the most rebellious thing, the most human thing. Drop the scalpel. Let the frog jump. Stop trying to read the code. Just play the game. Pessoa created all those different identities because he could not stand being just one person trapped in one perspective. He needed to multiply himself, to escape himself, to become others who thought differently than he did. And maybe Cairo was his escape, the personality who did not think, who just saw, who was not sick in the eyes. We cannot become Cairo completely. We are too far gone. The narration is too deep in us now. But we can remember that he is possible. We can remember that there is a way of being that does not require understanding first. A way of living that does not demand meaning before it allows experience. A way of existing that is not sick. We can find moments, small ones, brief ones, where the narrator goes quiet and we are just here, just alive, just feeling the sun without calculating its benefits. Those moments are the cure, not understanding them, just having them. Your need to understand prevents you from existing. This is the truth that undoes itself, because now you understand it, and understanding it will not save you. Knowing the trap does not free you from the trap. The only thing that frees you is forgetting. Forgetting to analyze. Forgetting to narrate. Forgetting to understand. And in that forgetting, finding yourself suddenly, unexpectedly, alive. Here. Now. Not observing life. Living it.